Welcome everybody. My name is Dana Grover. I'm going to be hosting this meeting for you today. I'm one of the HeatSmart interns for the HeatSmart Tompkins program this summer. Also on this call with us is our founder and director, Jonathan Comstock. Jonathan, hello. We also have Lindsay Spear from the HeatSmart Central New York sector, and we have Matt Dennis from Halco Energy, who's going to be presenting this wonderful case study today for you. So let me start sharing my screen and give you a short introduction about HeatSmart Tompkins. So we are a community-based nonprofit organization whose mission is to provide you with the necessary informational, networking, financial, and any other support-based resources as you consider transitioning away from fossil fuels and into the renewable future. So we began as a Solarize campaign, and we had a lot of success with that, so much so that we were able to shift our efforts over to more education about heat pump technologies, home envelope improvements, etc. Can everybody see my screen? Just to make sure that we're rolling well. Good, okay. So studies have shown that the #1 reason people don't install heat pumps into their homes is because they don't know about them. So we are here to fill in that knowledge gap for you. We are here to provide you with information such as what are heat pumps, what kinds of heat pumps are available and how do different types work, and which setups are going to be best suited for your unique situation. So we have accessible information on those options. We're transparent about costs and quality issues. We competitively vet all of our installer partners, of which we have 4. And that is to make sure that you will be getting the best quality customer service, the best quality technology, and all of which at the most affordable price on the market. We also act as a neutral source to answer any questions that you may have throughout your renewable resource journey or troubleshoot any problems that you may run into. Whether you be in the first phase of just considering putting heat pumps into your home and making assisted home performance projects realities for yourself, whether you are now ready to do so, or whether you already have done so and are having some problems and need some troubleshooting, it is never a bad time to enroll with our program. So we are HeatSmart Tompkins in the purple. We service Tompkins County and Chemung County, and we started out as just a small community-based, community-funded organization that eventually the state energy agency, NYSERDA, noticed, and they began funding us, as well as funding the advent of all of the rest of the HeatSmart programs across the state that you see. So we're very proud to have been the first, and we're very proud to be part of this movement. If you are joining us outside of Tompkins County, this map should let you know which HeatSmart program you are a part of, and we urge you with any advice that we're going to give you today to do the same in your local HeatSmart program. So when I say enroll with us, enroll with whoever you feel is going to be best for you. So you may be wondering how we're operating in the times of COVID. We've certainly had to change some of our outreach methods. One of the ways in which we've done that is instead of having in-person community meetings, which is preferred for us, we are now doing webinars such as this one via online platforms like Zoom. And we strongly encourage you to visit our website, heatsmarttompkins.org, where you can find a library of previous webinars that we've done, video home tours, other video or non-video resources that you could need. Any questions that you may have or anything that you are looking into, you can find on our website. And since phase 3 has begun and our installer partners are able to do more in-field work, as of the beginning of the month, we've been working with the state and we've been working with our partners to just ensure that the safety, security, sanitation protocols are all being followed for when they come to meet you. If you are interested in setting up a home assessment, there are some options. Legally now, because we're in phase 3, you are allowed to have an in-home assessment if that is your preference. Although if you are uncomfortable with that for any reason, there are other methods in which the installers can do that for you, either via phone, via video, or photos. You can talk with your preferred installer or installers to set something up that you're comfortable with. So now that I've gone through all of that introductory stuff, I'm going to turn it over to the lovely Matt Dennis from Halco Energy to do his geothermal case study presentation. I'll stop sharing my screen so that you may start. Is anybody joining us who's not part of a HeatSmart program or doesn't, isn't part of our team? Are you all from the Tompkins County region?
I'm from Tompkins County, and I enrolled in the program and have scheduled at least 2 assessments. And yeah, I'm looking to hopefully, if everything works out, put heat pumps in this big house that I've just uploaded as my profile picture.
Oh, lovely. It's a beautiful home.
It's a lot to heat and a lot to cool. Heating though is yeah.
Yeah, Kelly, I'm actually coming out to see you next week.
Oh, great. Yeah, that's great. Looking forward.
Okay, so we're gonna hopefully make sure this works. All right, so hi everybody. My name is Matt Dennis with Halco Energy. This is we're going to present one of our geothermal installs that we did in the just outside the town of Lansing last year. So as I go through, I'll tell you a little bit about Halco and what we do. I've been in business since 1984. We're a full service HVAC and home performance company. It services 23 counties throughout upstate New York and central New York. So basically from Rochester to Syracuse and then Lake Ontario to the Pennsylvania border, that's sort of our world. And like I said, when we say full service, we really mean full service. We offer everything from HVAC, plumbing, electric, waterproofing, water conditioning, indoor air quality, insulation, air sealing, air source heat pumps, ground source heat pumps, solar, and then more. There's not too much we don't do. And if we don't do it, we can find you somebody that can. That's our motto is, yes, we do that. We're open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, because we want to be the folks that people call when you have an issue. We want to be customers for life is what we're going for. So if there's ever an issue, we want you to give us a call and call us 24/7, 365. If you call us at 2 a.m. on a Sunday morning, a real life, living, breathing human being will answer the phone and be able to help you out. It's not a leave a message, we'll get back to you 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. There's always somebody at the office, so we're always going to be able to help you out. We've been partnered with HeatSmart Tompkins since the very beginning, since it got off the ground. Part of the reason that we've been partners with HeatSmart, and really not just HeatSmart Tompkins, but we're part of HeatSmart CNY, Sustainable Rochester, and we're hoping to be part of more of these programs as they open up, is because in all honesty, everything that HeatSmart stands for and is promoting and really stands behind is everything we do anyway, and something things that we do all the time. So it lines right up as far as energy efficiencies and non-fossil fuel heating systems, and reducing carbon emissions and battling comfort problems. So we've been doing it for a long time. We're just happy everybody else is right on board with it. I covered a lot of these. What makes us a little different than all the other contractors out there is not only because we do so many things. We're fully insured, liability, workers' comp, pollution, and umbrella insurance. We've got over 600 Google reviews on our webpage, which we're very proud of. We average, I think, a 4.9 stars. But we got over 8,000 reviews on our own website. So you could actually go on and you could actually type in your zip code and it'll pull up reviews for sort of your area, so you can kind of see what your neighbors have to say about us that we've worked with. And 1,500 of those, more than 1,500 of those, are come from Tompkins County. So. And we work with all the different NYSERDA programs as far as financing, different heat pump rebates, as well as the low to moderate income programs like Empower and Assisted Home Performance. So, and we'll help you with all that. I've gotten very good at paperwork. So there's a lot of paperwork that involves with a lot of that stuff. Now to the point of order here. So this is it's a small Cape Cod. Just outside of Lansing that we put in a ground source heat pump. Molly Birecree and her partner, Sam, I forget Sam's last name, bought this house, young couple bought this house, and their goal was to make it energy efficient. Wanted to get away from the oil, wanted to get away from the propane, be good stewards of the environment, and just sort of set the right example, which is really, how you needs to be done. A lot of the times, some of these complex projects tend to be done by folks who are sort of settled and situated in life, and have maybe have a little bit more disposable income available. But this is a young couple who, again, starting out, wanted to start out the right way. So very, very happy to work with them. It was built in 1962. It's about 1,600 square feet. So what I found when I got there is an oil furnace that was about and air conditioner, about 20 years old, not even sure if the AC worked. A propane water heater, also about 20 years old, and a ductwork system original to the house from the 60s that had never been cleaned. And that's one thing we tackled for indoor air quality. And what did we do? We put in a Geostar Sycamore ground source heat pump. It's a horizontal loop, which means we dug it. We didn't have to drill it. We had the space to get out there with a backhoe and dig the trenches. And we also put in a Geostar Aston water-to-water heat pump for the domestic hot water. This is a unique sort of scenario where we did all the space heating and cooling and hot water is all done by the geothermal loop field. We also cleaned the ductwork throughout the house. And then the benefits, in this case, it was fairly easy installation as far as installs go. I've done some really complicated ones over the years, so this one's fairly straightforward, at least in our world. It was a big, wide, unfinished basement that was completely empty. There was nothing in our way. We could get to everything, and there's plenty of ground space for the loop field. So we were able to dig it and trench it into the house without too much of an issue. This is the old oil furnace that was in the basement. This is the old air conditioner. It's the best picture I had of it. Nothing fancy here, just heating and cooling. And then what we replaced it with was this right here. So this actually is sitting in the same spot that this furnace is. So this is the unit that does your heating and cooling. We had to do some modifications to the ductwork, as you can see. We had to make this into this. This particular system has the built-in Symphony monitoring system, which means the customer can actually go on, and I think I've got a slide on that. Look at that, I do. So the customer can actually go online and track the usage of how their system works. And as a contractor, we can pull this up too if there's a problem. So a lot of times we can troubleshoot it. And the reason I wanted to bring this up is because it's a real life depiction of exactly how this system works. Since the system went online in December of last year, and you can see exactly what part of their heating load is. That's what this right here, partial or full heating load, and then auxiliary heat. But when you add all this up, and it went through winter, this is good. So this is an honest snapshot. It shows you exactly how much energy you use in the wintertime. $420 is all they use to heat their house, which would have equated to about $1,800 in fuel oil for the same amount of heat. And this is, like I said, this isn't just speculation or conjecture. This is legitimate numbers that you can see and prove that, yes, geothermal is super cheap to heat your home with. Talk a little bit about the duct cleaning, because we're all about indoor air quality. We're all about making sure that the home is kept safe and clean and healthy. This is a stock image. This is not real. I don't want to thank anybody that's pulled this off of the internet. But this is not unlike what a lot of duct work looks like, especially after years and years of just, no maintenance. So, we put a big HEPA vacuum on the duct system, and we just suck everything down, and then we put an air whip through it that knocks all this crap loose, and all gets sucked down, and then you get a nice clean ductwork. So not only is that important for efficiencies, because you're not restricting airflow, but it's also really important because you're not constantly circulating the dirt, the dust, and whatever else has lived in there over the years. Things, it's an open system that's constantly circulating. So you got to make sure it's clean. So that's a very important factor when you're looking at a forced air application. And this is the water heater. That is their water heater right here. So the traditional propane water heater that everybody knows and loves. And this replaced it. This is also connected to the geothermal loop field outside. And then this is the storage tank and their dog, very cute dog. So this is the entire domestic hot water system. This does 100% domestic hot water. So regardless of, and again, it's all being drawn from the ground. So the system kind of works in tandem with the heat system. And this is for the domestic hot water side. Since December, they spent $50 to heat their hot water. That's pretty good, considering the alternative, $7 a month. $85 a year as opposed to $500 a year in propane. So it makes sense. You literally just save a ton of money when you're putting in a heating system like this, and thus also reducing your fuel consumptions. So at the end, everybody was very happy. No more fuel oil, no more propane, even comfortable heat. And that's something you got to think about. It's a different type of heat with a heat pump, any heat pump really, but more so with Geo. So it's a more consistent heat. It's a more even heat. A fuel oil furnace, a gas furnace, anything that burns combustion has very high heat load, high heat distribution, and then it drops off. Whereas a heat pump is constantly circulating, so it's a more even, consistent, comfortable way to heat and cool your house. As well as super high efficient and very cheap to run. And I think I've got the carbon offsets on the next screen. So here's the total project cost. $44,500. There was an extra NYSERDA rebate last year in the town of Lansing due to the gas moratorium, so they got a little extra cheddar on the burger. And the federal tax credit was 30% last year, so it was about $10,500. So the net cost was $24,511. Now you might look at that and be like, "Wow, Matt, that's a good chunk of change," and it is. But look at the alternatives. If before oil, 700 gallons of oil and 200 gallons of propane, and the individual cost of those two, and your total carbon offset, your total carbon emissions due to that combustion, as opposed to right here, you're looking at about 5,300 kilowatt hours of electricity a year, which is $588, compared to $2,600. It's a $2,000 a year savings, pretty healthy payback on a system that's got a minimum of 25-year lifespan. So the simple fuel cost, I didn't put any. I don't know if I can move that, but on the bottom there, you've got 455,000 pounds of CO2 over the next 25 years. And the simple payback over 25 years is $50,000. That does not include inflation or rate increases. So it's actually a lot better than that. So if you think about it, it's paid for itself twice in its entire lifespan, just in sheer money factors. And that's sort of the long short of it. So I appreciate everyone chiming in and being part of this webinar, and happy to answer any questions you might have, and hopefully tell your friends, and more folks can be involved in these programs. And And that's how we keep this snowball rolling, is telling folks about it. So I appreciate it. I'm going to turn this back over to Dana, and it's all yours.
Thank you, Matt. That was crazy. Those numbers were crazy.
Yeah, well,
Oh,
I've seen
my
crazier
gosh.
ones.
I bet you have. So thank you, Matt, for presenting that. Before we move into the question and answer session, okay, I just want to introduce you to our other 3 installer partners. Today you heard from HeatSmart Energy, but we also work with Snug Planet, NP Environmental, and our newest addition to the HeatSmart installer partner team, Daily Geothermal. They all do different types of installations, but they're responsible for the installations of a system and the maintenance of that system. So they will be a very good resource for you throughout your installation process, as well as your usage process of the technologies that you choose. So to get started with us and start a relationship with HeatSmart Tompkins, you can enroll with us on our website, heatsmarttompkins.org. That process includes a short form that you fill out, at the end of which you can select 1, 2, 3, or all 4 of our installers to contact you and set up a home assessment. Again, those home assessments can be in-house now legally, but if you're more comfortable, they can also be remotely. You can get as many as you would like, and they're all free. No obligation to take action afterwards. They're really just for you to get a better understanding of what your specific home's needs are and what kind of technologies and services and resources can be provided for your specific property. So again, we really urge you to enroll with us. There's no better time than the present, and there's no wrong time to enroll with us, no matter what part of the process you are in. So with that being said, I want to thank you all again for coming to this event. And if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat, or you can unmute yourself and verbalize them. And one of our experts on this call will be able to help you out. I will stop sharing my screen.
Bueller?
Yep, the floor is open. The floor is open for any questions.
You did such a great job.
You so thorough, so comprehensive.
Matt, what's your favorite color?
Purple.
Good one. It's a good one.
How long did it take you to do the complete process to do the installation for the geothermal?
So are you talking about the physical installation where we were on site?
Yes.
I believe the digging took probably 4 or 5 days and another 3 or 4 days inside. So, you know, start to finish, and there was some overlap there, but start to finish, this particular project was probably maybe a week and a half, maybe.
That's good.
And it's only because it was fairly straightforward. Some other ones that are more complex obviously take longer, but this one kind of, all the stars sort of lined up with this one. The last webinar we did was a more complicated job, so I was trying to keep it semi-simple with this one.
And so with this one, because it was such a small home, I would think that, you know, if I were the homeowner, I may want to prioritize doing air source. But why did you guys decide that geothermal was the best fit for that home?
When you honestly, if we would put an air source system in, after the rebates and the incentives and all that, it would have been a little bit cheaper, but not a whole lot cheaper. And also the air source is, again, a great option. We put in a lot of air source heat pumps, but in this case, it was kind of hard to sort of to kind of deny the extra incentives that NYSERDA had in Lansing. And then also they were looking at it as a long-term thing. This was going to be sort of the home where they build their family, so they were thinking long-term. And a geothermal system will last longer than an air source. So even though it would have been a little bit cheaper at the beginning, again, not very much, but a little bit cheaper at the beginning, it doesn't have the extra incentives like that the Geo did. And it's going to last twice as long. So it's sort of you weigh the pros and cons and see what best fits. And that's what we do. And when we go out, we kind of look at sort of what makes the most sense in your home, what makes the most sense in your wallet, and what makes the most sense in the long term, and figure out what's your best fit and go from there. Sometimes it's air source, sometimes it's ground source, sometimes it's a hybrid system. I mean, because we can offer so much, it's really easy for us to find the right solution for you.
Outside of just the installation, do you go back to the customers to see about the quality of life that they have now, how they feel about, the type of heating and cooling they had before compared now?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we will follow up, and that is, we always do a QA inspection, but yeah, we do follow up later and say, hey, how's everything going? What is it like? And sort of get, we get some positive feedback and or even negative feedback. Maybe there's something they don't like, and then maybe it's something we can address. Because keep in mind, these are all retrofit applications. So when you retrofit something, sometimes you have to compromise. Because sometimes houses are the way they are, and sometimes we can't change it. But in this instance, I have spoken to her recently, and they couldn't be happier.
So Matt, we have a question in the chat from Kelly. She says, does converting from fuel oil heat to heat pumps increase the value of your home in terms of the resale value?
So that is a multi-point question. I saw that too. And I get that all the time. So I always start off by saying something's only worth what somebody's willing to pay for it. However, we do work with a third-party certification organization that does home energy certifications. And just having that certification available has been shown to fetch a higher asking price for your home above what the quote-unquote assessed value might be. And as far as fetching more value because you have a higher efficient heating system, a lot of that boils down to who's selling your house for you. If you've got a realtor who is your salesperson selling your house, and they understand the value that you're putting into energy efficiencies and high efficient heating systems, there's no reason they can't sell that to a potential buyer as a value, and thus kind of get more out of the house. It's easy to kind of look at if you take your house and say the house next door, which is just very similar in size and style and whatnot, costs 3 times more a year to heat and cool as opposed to this house. Well, that's value. And if you were selling a home, if I were selling a home for somebody, that's absolutely something that I would be pitching to people. And we've worked with a lot of real estate companies as far as trying to help and educate folks. But the outfit that we work with, Pearl, does is associated with the National Board of Realtors and the National Assessors organizations. All of which, they have to recognize this certification. So anytime we do any of these improvement projects, we always do this certification. So when the time comes, should you decide to sell your home, it's more ammunition for you to try to get more money out of it. But again, at the end of the day, there's a lot of variables that go into. You can't just say, I've got geothermal, my house is worth more. Real estate doesn't work that way, unfortunately. So. You're welcome. That's the first time I've seen the chat window open up on this. Maybe it's because you got me listed as a person.
Yeah, you've got the credentials now.
Yeah. Thumbs up.
again, feel free to unmute yourself if you have a question, as Kevin has been doing, or as Kelly has been doing in the chat. You're more than welcome to type anything. And we don't need to limit ourselves to questions at this point. If you have any comments or things that you'd like to work through, we have another. We're going until 12:45, but that's a soft stop. We usually will continue the conversation afterwards if anybody is willing and able to do so.
So, Matt,
Yeah.
was that picture of the house before or after? I want to know what the house looked like after you guys left. Did you do the landscaping back, or did they want to do it themselves?
They were handling that themselves. I think they had a guy, because they were also doing some other landscaping. So we were just going to basically make a mess and get out of the way, and then whatever they were doing to finish up the kind of took care of that. But yeah, I mean, once it was done, it just looked like a big dirt. So wasn't anything spectacular, but no, and that's something we do. We could we offer refinishing and reseeding if it's something that some folks want. Sometimes we're putting these things out in the middle of out in the weeds, so nobody cares. So they just say, let's level it out and just call it a day. But sometimes we're doing it on sort of finished lawn, so we can repair it too. So the same guys that dig the holes and make the mess do a pretty good job of cleaning up too.
All right.
You just did such a thorough job.
It happens sometimes. I leave people speechless.
So I'm curious, of those of you that are attending the seminar, how many of you think you are specifically interested in geothermal, and who's just shopping and hasn't really determined yet what you think you want?
So I am just starting to learn about all of the different options, and I'm going to rely pretty heavily on these home assessments and what the installing companies recommend after they take a look at my house. And I mean, pricing obviously will play a part in it too. I know
Yes.
I've come to understand that ground is a lot more expensive than air, but I'm open to checking out both and making a decision based on what the house needs.
Jonathan, you can correct me if I'm wrong with this figure, but in the case study that Matt just presented, you said the tax rebate was somewhere around 30%, and it's been dropping since then. So this year it's 22, 25?
26.
26.
This year.
26 this year, and it's gonna, say that one more time?
22 next year. It will continue to drop.
It'll continue to drop. Yeah, that's my point. So so the sooner that you get as educated as possible and as ready as possible to make an installation, the higher tax rebate you're going to have. Just a note for you, Kelly, and anybody else.
And if it helps, if anybody's interested, I have air source heat pumps in my own house. If you missed the conversation earlier, so I'm an advocate for both options. So whatever works best for you, we can do for you.
Just want to say, great presentation.
Thank you.
I learn something every time I come, so thanks.
Well, you're gonna get to the point, Mary Alice, where you can do this. You can do this next year.
Oh, that will never happen. That will never happen. I have my heat pumps. I'm home.
For anybody who's interested, I just put the direct link to enroll with our program in the chat function. So you're very welcome, Kelly. If anybody was interested in pursuing that after this meeting, there it is for you. And again, on our website, we have many different types of resources. We have a library of different video resources that may be able to help you, conversations between the community and us, as well as more information about every single one of our installer partners and more information about the different types of heat pumps that are available.
One of the things that's hard to recapture when we can't have in-person meetings are the home tours. And those are important because you get to go into a house and talk to the people about what the experience is, but also yourself, you know, listen, people ask how much noise is an air source heat pump going to make, and they're usually surprised at how quiet they are. But that's the kind of thing that you can do in an actual in-person meeting. We are putting some videos of home tours onto our website, but you know, you can't put your ear up to the equipment and get a good sense of what it, you know, what it sounds like. So there are some things that we hope that you have friends, and we certainly can try to line things like that up for you if you feel you need it. But we're not going to be having any formal in-person tours very soon because it's not appropriate.
Yeah, come to my house if you want. You just look at the thing outside.
Put hazmat suits on.
Yeah, you don't have to come in the house. So just give me a call and let me know when you're on your way. Actually, I just did that actually a couple days ago. I had somebody stop by because they wanted to see how loud the outdoor unit was. So I cranked it up as loud as I could, and they were very surprised how quiet it was.
That seems like it's a concern for a lot of people.
It is. I think part of it is because it's something that people just aren't familiar with, or they might be familiar with a traditional air conditioner, which is kind of loud.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, these things, the air source compressors are super quiet, and the ground source ones too. I mean, you've got that 2 heat pumps in the basement for Molly's house here, and at full bore, man, you don't hear much at all.
On that note, I just want to let everybody know that it is 12:45. So if you were planning on sticking to the time limitations that we set up in the registration, feel free to log off. Thank you so much for joining us today.